So I said to her one day, I said, Dolores, can I talk to you? She said, I want you to become a pig. I want you to make a pig out of yourself. Now, the reason I said pig, I had a friend who was a policeman who came to visit that class, a few weeks earlier. And somebody asked him, how do you like being called the pig, which is a negative term for police, right? And he said, I love it because to me, pig means pride, integrity, and guts.
Good morning, Bernard Percy, 8 a.m. in Brooklyn right now. And thank you so much for giving me this Saturday morning. It means a lot to me to be talking with you here today. And I know so many people are going to love what you have to share with us. And possibly they're going to find a whole new doorway in their lives that can open up for them, hearing what you have to share with us all. So just a little bit about Bernard Percy. I want to tell our viewers a bit of what I know about you so that they can get the idea of where this interview might be going. So if it's okay with you, I'd like to share a bit more about the man Bernard Percy. Is that okay with you, Bernie?
You go for a half hour talking about me, Mike. It's fine.
You bet. We can talk all night. So it's just so everybody knows, it is 10 p.m. over here on a Saturday night, and that's why we always know that we know that the world can never end because it is always tomorrow down under, right, Bernie?
Go back to the future, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, that's right. Down in Sydney. Good, and we can't wait to get you down here. Right, so you grew up and became an educator teaching in New York City and Los Angeles public school system, teaching 4th, 5th and 6th graders. 1964, your bachelor degree, Brooklyn College, majoring in education. 1965, master's degree in childhood education at Columbia University. Teachers College awarded membership in Phi Delta Kappa, an education...
Kappa Delta Pi, actually. Kappa Delta Pi.
Kappa Delta Phi. Okay, got it. Yeah, an education honor society. Awesome.
Right.
Over 50 years of education and communication experience in both the public and private sectors, including 1998 to 2003 editor-in-chief and co-founder of Converge magazine, a multi-award winning national magazine on education and technology. Founder and president of Career Solutions, an educational and career consulting organisation that delivers the Foundations of Brilliance program, helping people make the right choice in their career and education path. You met your wife Caroline in 1972, 48 years now married, and boasting 3 amazing and very talented daughters, all very successful in business and the arts. And I know this personally, attending performances in LA, Florida, and again in Barbados with your daughter Mari, where she absolutely owns the stage. But your marriage really is a very unique relationship, and I will let you share that with us, if that's okay, a bit more today. Okay, so back to you. All right, defining you as a man that has spent his life as an educator would be the understatement of the century. Definitely pioneering a way of opening the door to a life filled with achievement, direction, and true fulfillment of personal dreams for so many people around the world that have been fortunate enough to come into contact with you. And I've been following you for well over a decade now, and know how many sky miles you do. Over 2 million miles, and you've worked in 43 countries. Brother, how do you do what you do?
I sleep a lot. When you really are doing something that's the right thing for you to do, it's not a burden. I don't necessarily like flying in an aluminum tube through space, for many hours.
Yeah.
But I absolutely love doing what I do when I get where I'm going. And it excites me, and it invigorates me, and impels me. And absolutely one of my favorite places I've ever been to is Australia. I've been there, I think, 8 to 10 times, and made great friends, my kings, who become a great friend, and so on. So I make friends, I really help people, and I really help fulfill my dreams and my purposes. And so when you're really aligning what you're doing to what you know is the right thing for you to do, what a pleasant life you have. Doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but it's going to be interesting and joyful and very satisfying.
Absolutely. That's I'm going to talk more about that a little bit later in the interview, and it really is something that to be able to get out of bed on a Monday morning, or looking forward to a Monday morning, it's something that very few people actually have in their lives, And
Absolutely.
why shouldn't Monday be the best day of the week, right?
And Tuesday and Wednesday. Every day should be the best day of the week because you know you're on the right path, the path that's the right one for you. And
Yeah,
that's really one of the dreams I've had.
yeah, okay, beautiful. I definitely share that with you. It's why does it matter what day it is if you're actually doing what you love so much, and every day is just a whole new adventure, and you're really producing what's important to you every day of your life, and not playing somebody else's game.
No, I understand. Right, right.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, awesome, good. Now, I did ask you before the interview if is any of your favourite cases you'd like to talk about, and you're like, I don't know, I could talk from rugby to fashion design, or from depression all the way to enthusiasm. So that's a pretty big range, and I suppose when you work with people in 43 countries all across the globe, I'm going to ask you the question again. So, are there any favourite cases that you've worked with people, and you could really like the ones that stood out, and you just love to share the success that they've had after doing your program?
Good. This is, I could talk for hours about that. Okay. There was one, well, let me start when I was a teacher. And of course, it's a foundation for a lot of what I've done afterwards. I was always looking to figure out how can I get my students in pursuit of knowledge, not knowledge in pursuit of my students or my children. Okay. I love that quote. And I knew one of the things that you have to do is create the right challenge for your students or your children or yourself. Because when you have that right challenge, it's what impels you. It's like you will thrive when you are overcoming the challenges that are right for you. So I had a student named Dolores. Loved her. She's my fifth grade class that just moved a year earlier from the West Indies. And when she came to my class, she never said a word. She was the brightest student in my class. She did the best work. I knew she understood everything we went over and knew more than me in some ways, right? But I could never get her to contribute. And I looked at her and I knew she knew the answer, but she wouldn't raise her hand and wouldn't contribute. So I said to her one day, I said, Dolores, can I talk to you? I said, I want you to become a pig. I want you to make a pig out of yourself. Now, the reason I said pig, I had a friend. I had a friend who was a policeman who came to visit that class, a few weeks earlier. And somebody asked him, how do you like being called the pig, which is a negative term for police, right? And he said, I love it because to me, pig means pride, integrity, and guts. So I
Mm.
said to Dolores, I want you to be a pig. Use pride, integrity, and guts to really help me because I need your help. Because you can add things to what I'm saying and you have the answers that can maybe inform the kids even better than I could. And it turns out that Dolores had the year before been with a teacher who, if I knew who it was, I'm nonviolent, Mike. I
Mm.
mean, don't even like killing bugs. But I'll do it, But the year before, she had a teacher for some reason did not like her,
Mm.
and she was very, very bright. And the mother came to this teacher in the fourth grade and said, I'd like you to give Dolores a little bit more homework to do because, I don't think she's being challenged enough. This stupid teacher, at the end of the day, says to the class, you're all getting more homework because Dolores' mother wants her to get more homework and I have to give you more homework. So thank you, Dolores. Oh, man, the kids, these are fourth grade, kids from the inner
Ooh.
city. Oh, you can imagine how they felt about Dolores, right?
Yes.
As Dolores was walking home that day, kids were harassing her, yelling at her, teasing her, right? And so she came to my class because of the heritage of that last year's impact.
Mm.
She made a decision. I'm going to become invisible. I don't want anybody to see me. She told me about this as we were talking.
Mm.
So I'm sitting down with Dolores, and I said, Dolores, I'd really like you to really show pride, integrity, and guts because you can really help me. And I'd love for you to contribute to the class. And so she told me the story years later. She went home that night and she started practicing how to raise her hand. She raised one hand, two hands, waving her hand. She was practicing how to, I mean, I love the story, right? And so finally, the next day, I asked the question, and for the first time, Dolores raised her hand. I said, Dolores, you have something to say. And she stood up and threw up. She was so nervous and so upsetting. It's like, ah, I mean, it was amazing, how hard it was for her.
Wow.
And so I had one of the students, Cheryl, I still remember her name, take her to the bathroom to help her clean up and stuff. And Cheryl was one of the girls who harassed her the year before. So Dolores came back to the class, and I said, okay, Dolores, so you have something to say. And then she said it. And one of the things she said about that occurred, and this is really kind of the point of the story, said all the kids started to like and respect me because they saw how much you respected me and how you treated me with such admiration and care. And so that rubbed off on the class, my attitude towards Dolores. There's a great quote, attitudes are contagious. Is yours worth catching? And I love that quote. And I talk to parents about that. I want you to be happy and smiling, and don't you dare come home angry and be upset all the time. Well, attitudes are contagious. What's your attitude, right?
Yeah.
And so as an educator, I really want the people to really, like students and adults, anyone, to really decide what's the right path for them to take and to make a pig out of themselves. Treat your life like a pig with pride, integrity, and guts.
Wow. I'm gonna turn my company into a bunch of pigs, mate. We're like, I've never heard you tell me about the pig before. That's so cool. Maybe I was off in you were, and I was off in the fairyland somewhere. That's so cool. Right. Because it's just like that's like everything right there. What sort of people do you want on board? What sort of people do you want in your team? You want someone who's got pride and they've got integrity and they've got guts.
Yes.
Yeah.
How can you ask? And that's what I want for my girls. And that's what I want from myself. And I want to reflect that viewpoint.
Wow. Thank you. Awesome. So personally, I heard about your program in 2008 down here in Sydney, and all I knew that there was this really cool guy from Brooklyn. From Brooklyn. Give me a Brooklyn. How am I supposed to say Brooklyn? Brooklyn.
Yeah, Brooklyn. Yeah, from Brooklyn. Yeah. Forget about it. You're from Brooklyn. Yeah.
I'm from Brooklyn. Come on, get out of the way. So this guy from Brooklyn, and who has this amazing way to help me to find out what the hell I'm going to do with my life. And I did do your program, and I'll share a bit of my wins on that as well also. But, I mean, being a teacher and possibly not with the most fortunate kids in the schooling system, a tough gig, a lot of your career working with 4th, 5th and 6th graders in Brooklyn area. What was it that led you to see through the educational system and seeing how to, like I couldn't even say taking it to a whole new level, because that wouldn't even come close to describing what people have achieved after doing this program, right? But how was it that you were able to discover, to see, or because it's beyond me, it really is beyond me. How was it that you discovered how to let people discover a true meaning and direction in their lives? Like, I'm just trying to get the concept of how, what led you down that path, yeah?
That's a great question, and I'll give you an answer. I'll answer it this way. Somebody once asked Michelangelo, how do you create such beautiful sculptures? And do you know his answer, Mike?
I can think about it. It'll be like, how do you hold your golf club? I've got no idea.
He had a great answer. He said, I don't create the sculptures. I bring out what's already in the marble.
Wow.
And my viewpoint as an educator, when I saw my students, they weren't black inner city kids from New York. I mean, I didn't look at them any kind of preconceived notion. I knew there was magic and brilliance in that marble. And what's my job as an educator, as a parent for my daughters, was to bring out what's already in the marble. It means I have to understand their real world. Yeah. And I knew one of the things that really is important to understand is a purpose, a reason why people do things. And anytime I read something about purpose, I would always go, yes, let me read more about it, because I knew the value of it. And then I read something from an educator and philosopher, L. Ron Hubbard. And when I read this, I went, oh, this is the magic that's been missing from the lives of so many people.
Mm,
Basically, there are three things that an individual must know about themselves to really make the right choice. So they then create the right challenges for themselves that really inspire and motivate them.
mm,
And Mr. Hubbard was talking about talent and personality and purpose. They go together. It's not just let me know my purpose.
yeah.
I love to entertain and help people become happier and brighter. Okay, personality. I love to be in front of groups. I love to travel and so on. Okay, super, great. That's my personality. Other things as well, obviously. Ah, so what did I decide to do? I'm going to become a professional singer. They say if you do what you love to do, and I love to sing, you'll never work a day in your life. And if I decide to become a professional singer, I'll never work a day in my life because nobody's going to pay to hear me sing, okay? Because I'm missing that talent.
Ah, that's what's letting me down. I was just like, I think I
And
get
so,
it.
and I realize that's been missing from the lives of so many people who go through the motions of their life, and they're doing okay maybe and making the money they want and they get some enjoyment from their work. But I'm looking at a life that's built around being impelled and knowing that you're making a difference the way you want to make a difference and so on.
Mm,
So when I read that concept, I said, this really is something I should do because I know I'm going to help people become more inspired to become happier and lead a better quality life.
yes.
And then I developed the program. And you, my friend, had a great impact on this planet. Because when you did the program, I have to brag a little bit about my buddy, Mike King here.
It was
So,
a lot of fun. A lot of
yeah,
fun.
he trained how to deliver the program, and he delivered it to a particular woman who had this huge realization. She was from Vietnam. And after doing the program, she realized I have to do something for my country, Vietnam, based on what Mike did with her and the program. And so from that point, she went back to Vietnam eventually to start a program to help rehabilitate or handle the drug issues that occurred because of Agent Orange and the other kind of horrible things that happened.
Mm,
But this is a direct result of Mike King's work with this woman because of his ability to help her understand her talents, personality, and purposes. So my hand goes in the air and salute you, my buddy, Mike King. You did great.
oh, that was an amazing day, Bernie. I actually I remember I think the thing to like it probably answers. I was going to ask you a question, but I kind of answered the question myself just hearing what you said there because what happens if like my question was going to be how do you find if people actually don't have the talent? Like I'd love to be a singer. I'd really love to be a singer, but when I sing, people go like, "Dude, don't take that up as a job. Whatever you do, make sure you don't give up your daytime job." And they're actually being honest the way that I sing because I've recorded it and I've listened to it. It's terrible, but you never actually know what's going to happen when you do this program. And I remember that girl, and she's like a single mum, and she's about this small, and I don't even know if she had any work at the time. And you just never know who you've got sitting in front of you. And it turns out she was a university honours degree graduate, and she came out to Australia to try and find how to open a door to Vietnam for that and help her people. It's just a phenomenal program. It really is amazing. And for me, I could have sat there and went, "Oh, come on, honey, you're like your little single mum, and what are you going to do about it?" And that's not. The job is to actually you just never know how powerful a being is sitting in front of you when they originate that they want to follow some path in their life, and it's not our choice to judge them for what they were going to do because anyone really can achieve anything. And I've absolutely been humbled and learned from that it's so true.
There's a quote from a philosopher. I think his name was Elbert Hubbard. Okay, not L. Ron Hubbard, Elbert Hubbard.
Yes.
And he said, where much is expected of an individual, he may rise to the level of events to make the dream come true.
Mm,
It's the importance of your expectation. I use an analogy. You take a goldfish and you put it in a small bowl and you feed it properly, it's going to stay small.
Yeah.
because it's in a small bowl. But you take that same goldfish, you feed it properly, put them in a much larger area, maybe a small pond or something. It's
Mm.
going to grow much, much larger. And your expectation is like the bowl that you're going to put your child into, your student into, yourself into, people you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Okay. So you allow them to really expand and grow to what their true capabilities are.
Mm.
See, I know everybody has areas of brilliance. One of the reasons I started the program called the Foundations of Brilliance, because I have a total certainty we all have areas of true brilliance. And what are those areas of true brilliance where you really want to create an impact and create an effect that aligns to your talent, personality, and a statement of purpose?
Mm.
And boy, when people find that, it's magic. You mentioned the one guy, Daniel Patrick. He did the program, and he was a rugby player and from Australia, signed a contract to play in France. But when he did the program, he had an understanding of what his real purpose was. And he says, wait a minute, I don't want to be a rugby player. I want to be a fashion designer. He's now become internationally renowned for his fashions.
Mm.
Major celebrities, major athletes all over the world buy his product. But the thing that changed for him, because he kind of knew his talent, he's very creative. He liked, he would design different things. He loved clothing, part of his personality. He loved to, how to knock himself up, how to look,
Mm.
how
Mm.
to present himself to the world.
Mm.
But it was only when he clearly stated his purpose did he realize, no, fashion design is really the gift of my life. Pow. I use that example a lot because it's a very prime example of the kind of effect that can happen. I also use the woman you work with.
Yes.
How she, this short woman with no real experience, that made a decision based on what she learned about herself and has helped to change the lives of so many thousands of people in Vietnam. I mean, I'm assuming it's thousands by now with the program.
Yes. Yes.
And Mike King had an important hand in doing that because
That was
he
like,
helped her.
it was
He
perfect.
really helped her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
That was quite something.
yeah, I know. And that's a nice thing too, when you're making a real difference in the life of others. Boy, it's one of the legacies that you want to leave, that you made a contribution to this world.
Mm.
Michael King has definitely done that in many ways. So you're interviewing me, but I want the world to know who they're watching. And you're just not some good-looking guy from Australia who has an Australian accent or whatever that is.
I'm going to
You're
record that to my wife. All right. So that's good.
anytime. Tell Maureen to give me a call. I'll tell her
Will
the truth.
do. Tomorrow she'll be on the phone. Don't you worry. I'll get a cross check on this one.
Cool. And so part of it is meeting people like you around the world. With 43 countries, over 2 million miles, and one of the great pleasures is meeting people like you who are dedicated individuals to helping, and you help in many ways. And I'm not going to go into your biography,
Mm.
but you really are an inspiration to so many people, Mike, with your care and dedication and how much you want to help. So I'm just letting you know that I totally admire you. Okay?
I appreciate it, and I completely accept your admiration and acknowledgement of myself. That's good. I'm not going to say no to that at all. All right. I've got
You
to
better
set an
not.
example, because it is okay. Like sometimes people, they're like, oh no, 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 no. It's like, why not? If you do something good in your life and you get a really good acknowledgement, just enjoy it and feel good about it, because it's deserved, right?
I call it shameless self-promotion.
Yes, yes, exactly.
It's
Promote
not
or perish,
bragging.
mate.
It's not bragging and bragging, what it was bragging. But
Yeah,
when you do something of value and importance, just promote it. Let people know, because it might inspire them and help them.
yeah, true, true. Thank you. All right, good. So I think I'll just have a look at this next part I was going to ask you, because I generally guess like that we start a question and we'll generally answer the next question anyway. But it is like, man, like Monday again. I love my life, and this is going to be the best week ever. And that really is the only way I can describe this program to people. And this is what it gave me. And I think this is the most precious treasure in the universe. That's the only way that I can describe it, because gold, diamonds, wealth doesn't make you happy, but when you're getting out of bed to do what you love and you're doing that every single day, you can't put a price on that. It really is the most precious treasure in this universe for a person to live a life like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to add, what you love that you have the talent for and a purpose. You see, it's the alignment of all three. And love is part. If I got out of bed because I love to sing and sang all day, well, all right, big friggin' deal. Okay. But that's a point I've been making. It's like the alignment and understanding of these three things about yourself. And most people
Yeah.
have never sat down
Yeah.
to look at what their talents are. They
Mm.
don't even know how to look for it.
Mm.
Okay? And that statement of purpose, it's many people have a concept or an idea what their purpose is. The definition is the reason for which something is done or made or exists. The reason. Somebody
Yeah.
says my purpose is to be a teacher. Well, that's not a purpose. That's a job title.
Mm.
What's the reason behind it?
Mm.
It's like to help motivate and inspire children to learn. Now that's the reason.
Yeah.
That's the
Yep.
purpose, right?
Mm.
And so I've helped thousands of people all over the world come up with that clear statement of purpose. And that's kind of the important point in terms of moving forward with your life the way you want to do it.
Excellent. So, did you have any idea when you were going down this discovery path what you were going to find? Like, was this discovery as big a surprise to you when you actually got the first results from this?
It was a gradient, when I started talking to you earlier before we started the videoing. When I did my first consultation, I said, I was a 17-year-old boy. Okay, what am I going to do? Tell me about your talents, Chris. His name is Chris. What are you good at? Yeah. And the whole program began to emerge, and over time, I learned the right questions to ask.
Yes.
And the right way of handling people. And one of the things about the program is I never evaluate or tell somebody what they should do.
Mm.
I want them to observe the truth for themselves. I can have a million opinions, a big friggin' deal. It doesn't matter. It's what the person themselves observes to be true for them. So the whole program is aligned to helping them observe and spot the truth for themselves. So I don't do these comprehensive tests of your talents or your personality and these multiple choice questions. No, it's an interview. And I've learned the right questions to ask to help them understand things about themselves. And when they do, it makes such a difference. A lot of people try to figure out their purpose. What's my purpose? I think 150,000, 200,000 books have been written on the subject of purpose. Because it is vital. It's a vital thing, right? It really helps impel you and motivate you.
Yes.
And so a lot of people have a concept or an idea. Yeah, this sounds right. This sounds good. But with every person I work with and the people I've trained, when you come up with a statement of purpose that truly impels you, yes, that's it. 60 to 70% of the people will cry because they have this realization, good realization of, wow, finally I understand what a purpose that's going to help me determine my future actions or activities. Okay. And one of the things that I found in delivering the program is I only want people to tell me what's good and right about them. I don't allow any negatives, any what I call yeah buts. Because that sends you down that slippery slope of negativity and make wrong and I'm not good enough. So when we do the consultation, it's just telling me everything that's good and right about you. I love doing that. We met, I knew a little bit about you, but when we did the consultation, all of a sudden they went, holy, whoa, look at this guy. What? My admiration for you got higher and higher and higher and higher. And it happens with everybody I work with.
Yes.
Because when you hear what's good and right about you, it can't help but create a positive impact on other people. So anyway, it's just been a very noble adventure and a lot more to come.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I think we're going to be spending a lot more time together because it's definitely what this world needs right now. We need an army of dreamers and an army of purpose-driven people,
I must share this with you. About 10 years ago, I was in Australia on a special conference, a business conference.
Yes.
And there were four men there in particular. There was me, a guy named Artie Marin, Ron Walker, and Bruce Wiseman. And all about the same age, the same look, gray hair. And all of us dedicated to helping others, right? So I took a photo of the four of us, a great photo. Then a couple of weeks ago, I got a call from one man, Artie Marin, who's been known around the world for his business acumen and helping people with business. And he took a photo of me and him at a restaurant, and he shared it online on Facebook. And then he got a communication back from somebody. Said, here they are, two men, over 100 years combined experience in helping others. These are the Godfathers of Good. I love that. Wow. Godfathers of Good. So I had that photo of Bruce and Ron, me and Artie.
Yeah,
So we're starting to form this kind of, we're just very beginning stages.
yeah,
We're calling ourselves the Godfathers of Good to
yeah.
help people really understand what they can do to bring greater goodness to themselves, their life, their others, and so on. Okay. And so I love that line. Okay.
That's so cool. That's so cool. Yeah, the real Al Capones, you know.
Yeah. The right way to be an Al Capone, but nice.
That's right. Yeah, I was watching an interview the other day with the real gangsters, you know, and what a life they lead. It's like, I think like there was a very few lucky ones that got out of it, despite all the fun they were having, you know. That's awesome. Anyway, so that photograph, how old were you guys then when that photograph got taken of the four of you?
We're all in our 60s.
Yeah,
And now I know three of us are in our 70s. I think Ron also is in the 70s. Bruce is, I am, and Artie for sure. I
yes,
think Ron is also.
yeah,
I know he's been married over 50 years, and he got married when he was like 20 or something. So he's also in his
mm,
70s.
yeah,
But we don't stop. It's just the energy is there. And we're
yeah,
all
yeah.
doing things, you know.
I follow all
So
those three guys. All of them I follow, and they're just like they're non-stop, you know.
yeah, and that we're
Yeah.
dedicated to really making this world a better place, you know.
Mm, mm. Yeah, that's right.
Like you, Michael King.
Yeah, that's right, mate. Well, you're gonna have to have some guys coming up, following through, and the generations are gonna have to follow you guys through, so that it continues on. You know,
Absolutely. Yeah,
a
yeah,
very
yeah.
a very successful marriage, all right, and a very complete family life. Could you share a bit with us, with me, on what made your relationship and you had as a father so successful?
Well, two words. You're right. Yes, dear, you're right. Thank you, dear. You're right. Okay. I'm half joking, but half serious.
Yeah,
Well, first of all, you know, as you know, my wife is black. Okay.
yeah,
And
she's
back in,
beautiful.
and she is gorgeous with great
Yes,
talent and
oh
just
yeah,
caring woman who just really wants to make a difference in this world. Works every day very hard at doing that.
yeah.
And you know what a lot of people don't know is I'm colorblind. You know, red green colorblind, right? And so when Carol and I got together, you know, became a couple. I mean, 2 years later, I found out she wasn't white because I'm colorblind. She's black. I'm joking on that, okay? But I am colorblind. I don't judge people at all by the color. I don't evaluate them in any way.
Yeah.
What's in the marble of each person I deal with? Learn more about them and bring that out, right?
Mm,
And
mm,
so with Carolyn, I mean, there are several ways of looking at it. There are three principles that I talk about in terms of relationship. Okay, actually four. With Carolyn, I traveled the world and I've met many incredibly beautiful women.
mm,
I've never had any inclination or interest in doing anything with any other woman, even though I'm alone in other countries. And there's only one woman who ever really has that magic for me, and that's Carolyn.
mm.
There's like the only way I could say it, there's an harmonic wavelength, an aesthetic wavelength between us. I'm not just talking about the physical beauty or anything else,
Yeah.
but there's a wavelength between us that's very special. Now, there are times when I'm right and she's wrong, okay? You know, there are those moments. But, you know,
Yeah.
we've learned how to get past those moments of,
Mm,
you know, we don't try to get into a right wrong.
yeah.
So one of the concepts is really look at that person. Is there harmonic of an aesthetic wavelength, a harmonic of wavelength that's true between you? And I know you and Maureen have that without a doubt. And I've seen you, and there's no doubt about that, right? And she's like my wife, a very strong person, man.
Oh, yeah.
You got to be strong to be married to a strong woman like that. And I always go, I'm bad. My wife's so good. And look at me, I'm with her 48 years. I must be good myself,
That's
right?
right. Anyone try to touch me, mate, you're going to get in serious trouble. Believe
I
me.
know. Another thing, very quickly, I do whole seminars on these, but
Yes.
it's, you know, when you're with people who want to reduce your cleverness and your strength and try to change you for the way they think you should be,
Yeah.
man, get out. Carol and I never do that.
Yeah.
Okay, we've never tried to reduce our cleverness or the strength of the other person,
Mm,
or you know, we don't allow the other person to do that to us.
mm,
Because when you do that, that's just a ruin. And one of the indicators when you're with that person, do you feel bigger and better and more space? And I love being with them, or it's like I got to be careful. I can't do this. And so you don't ever want to reduce the cleverness and strength of another. Not always easy.
Yes.
Okay. When I was, I became, you mentioned the magazine, I became editor-in-chief of it. Well,
Mm.
that magazine's offices were in California. We were living in Boston on the East Coast of America, California, the West Coast. So when I told Carolyn I really want to take this job, but she didn't want to move. She was dedicated to her job that she was doing, and she wanted to complete that job in Boston. And we
Mm.
could continue that job in Sacramento. No, I want to do it in Boston. So I said, I'm not going to force her to move with me. And she could have said to me, but I'm dedicated to my job. Why do you have to take this job in California? You can find somebody else. She didn't do that to me because we both knew how important what we were doing was to our lives. So for 5 years, I was bi-coastal, one coast and the next coast. That wasn't necessarily the best thing and the easiest, but that principle of
Mm.
not reducing the cleverness and strength of the other is so vital to us. Okay,
Mm.
that's another one.
Mm.
Okay, and then one last one. I won't go into a whole detail on this, but there's a thing called, from again in the works of Mr. Hubbard, called the communication formula. How do you really communicate with somebody? Okay, and other people use that word glibly. Get in communication, be in communication. What does it really mean?
Yep.
I find very, very few people really understand what that means. And by really understanding those true principles of communication, we're able to get past those times when I'm right and she's wrong, or she thinks I'm wrong and she's right. But and sometimes we change our mind, because we look at the other person's reality and we go, hey, let me take a look at it again. And so I'm willing to change my mind. That's the other point.
Yeah.
Okay, but don't do it in a way that's going to make me wrong. Oh yeah.
Mm-mm.
So we try to avoid that as much as we can.
Yes.
And so there's very quickly a quick brush and overview, and we respect and value each other's goals and the way we want to create those goals. We share the same goal, wanting to help people to become better at living their lives.
Mm.
Carolyn has one direction she's going in. I'm going in a different direction. I'm traveling the world. She's staying locally. Now we're living in New York. And so she's working in New York City at this organization doing that.
Mm.
And so, but me, I'm traveling the world. Every day I'm traveling the world from home. I'm on the internet every day with India, Dubai, now Australia,
Yes.
Germany, Denmark, all over because of the internet and Zoom and so on.
Mm.
But so we have a different way of achieving our goal, but we respect and admire what the other person is doing.
Beautiful, Bernie. Thank you. So any crazy things you do, any wild surprises you like to give your wife, or adventures, crazy romance that you like to share with us?
Well, I'll tell you what. For our 46th anniversary,
Yes.
it was happening August 18th this year. We've been together 48 years. We did a 2-year internship, and then we got married in 1974. Okay. And so in 1999, I said, let's get married again. And on our 25th anniversary, we redid our vows and got married again.
Yeah.
And on our 46th anniversary, we're back in Brooklyn. We moved away in 1976. We moved back in the end of 2017. We were away almost 42 years from New York. So on our 46th anniversary, I said, let's take a nostalgic tour. And we went to places that had real significance to us when we first became a couple. At the school, we met in school. She was a teacher in the school. We went to the school, took a photo. We went to, where she grew up, in Brooklyn, where we spent time, where I grew up. We went to a couple of places that really have a significant value to us. And we took photos of it, right? I thought, what a beautiful way to spend an anniversary with each other, kind of not rekindling, because, we're kindled already, and the fire is burning. We don't have to rekindle it. But kind of going through those nostalgic moments of pleasure moments in the past.
Yeah.
And that was very special.
That's so cool. I'd love to do that because you tend to lie in bed of a night time, and when you're both sort of awake and you can't sleep, and you have those times and you're talking about the old crazy times when you're courting and stuff, And I'd love to take more into the first place where I met her, where she was living when she first came to Australia, and we've been dating for about 2 months, and we hadn't even held hands, And I finally thought, tonight's the night I'm gonna kiss this girl, And, and we got to the stairs, and we were like so flippant and crazy, you know. And we got to the stairs, and we got the door, and I said to her, look, I had a really great night, and it was just a wonderful night, and so forth. And I leant forward to give a kiss, and she completely wasn't ready for it. She wasn't ready for it, expecting it or anything, you know. And she sort of was a bit startled and went back, and I've just gone, I didn't know what to say. I'm like, okay, all right then. And I turned around. I said, okay, I'll see you later. And I turned around and I fell down the stairs.
Oh, really?
Fell down the stairs, and I rolled down the stairs, and I was like a cat on a hot tin roof, and I landed on all fours, and I jumped up, and she's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm going to go now," you know. And that'd be really nice, and we still talk about that crazy time. You know? I'll probably take her back there, and then we'll go out for dinner afterwards and say, "Remember this spot right here?" You know.
And watch, here's what happened. Let me show you how I roll down the stairs. You know?
That's right.
That's wonderful.
And after that, I'm like, I'm not going to reach the slightest bit. I'm just going to hold back and wait. I don't care how long it takes. That's right. And
that's
so
great.
much fun.
You know, there are magic moments, aha moments in life, I call them, right?
Yeah, yeah.
When you know something has changed. And I remember with Carolyn and I, when our friendship turned to romance. And it was a magic moment. We were on a walk, a beautiful walk in Brooklyn, overlooked the East River and Lower Manhattan. You could see the Empire State Building and the Brooklyn Bridge. And she was kind of cold and chilly. So I gave her my coat and put my arm around. Before that, we were just friends. We had no romantic flow at all.
Yes.
But the moment I did that and I put my arm around her, I just felt, oh my God, something's changing.
Yeah.
It's still a magic moment. It was one of those aha magic moments for me. And we have those in our lives, you know, and we want to find those magic moments. And that's what I love to do for people, to help them find that aha moment when they determine the right path for them to take, the right person to be with, etc. You know, it's part of those special qualities of life that we all cherish and bring back to memory with smiles on our face. I love that story. You rolled down the stairs. Oh God!
Yeah, I don't think I had a bruise on my body, and it was quite a large flight of stairs, you know. And I think my adrenaline was so high that I didn't feel a thing, you know. And I drove off in the car, and I'm like, what am I doing? My God, you know. It was a special time, you know. Yeah. Anyway, so she grabbed my hand a little bit after that. She grabbed my hand, and I didn't have to wait too long, you know.
All right.
Bernie, was there a time in your life when you found yourself backed up against the ropes and you had to fight your way out of there?
Yep. Next question. One more. Well, there were a couple. I mean, I could point to several things, and I'm trying to think how I should communicate this. I have this philosophy in life, an Aikido philosophy. You know, you have a flow coming against you. You don't resist it. You kind of take the energy of that flow, and how do you move forward with it? Okay. So I remember I was working at this company, and they were going to lay me off because the money wasn't there, and I was working with them for 5 years, and you know, it was like I had no real looking source of income other than the job I had, which I loved. And so it's like, okay, what am I going to do? Okay, and I just, without knowing it, began to align my talent, personality, and purpose. But I wasn't clear on that concept previously, really clear on it at that time. But when I look back at my life, I realized that's what I did. And I kind of, instead of going, okay, what am I going to do? How am I going to survive? What's going to happen? I have 3 kids, my wife, and okay, I just found a way of aligning what I had to do with things I just naturally knew that I liked as a flow, what I really enjoyed, that I knew I had some ability for. I didn't necessarily know the purpose, to be honest with you. But I did know what my talents were, and I did know what my personality was, what I enjoyed doing. I'm an educator and so on. And so that started me on a process of working with different companies, developing training programs, documentation, and marketing materials for high-tech companies. And I was very good at it, making a lot of money, miserable every day. But I was okay. But I was providing a source of income and stability for my family, which is vital. Okay.
Yes.
But it was such a wrong thing for me to do, Mike. It's like, geez, every day I lost self-respect. I was
Mm,
good at it. It was a perfectly good, honorable job. It wasn't anything I'm ashamed of, but it wasn't me.
mm,
Okay. But I persisted through that. And then I was asked to become the editor in chief of this national magazine in California. And even though I never worked for a magazine before, I didn't even know how they got stories. And they were going to invest over $1 million in this magazine, all when you look at all the expenses and everything. They wanted me to be one of the two top people in the magazine, the editor in chief, and then the publisher is the main leader of the organization, and I'm the editor in chief.
yes.
And I had no experience. I didn't know. I didn't even know how they got stories. And when and this is, I tell you, a great moment in my life, it took that aha moment. So I'm kind of, well, I know that friends of mine own the company. They had a lot of respect for me, and they knew I would really do a good job, even though I didn't have experience.
Mm,
So I realized I had the talent and personality for it, but I didn't know I had a real purpose. So I decided I'm going to take the job. So what I did, and this is one of my magic moments of life. After we agreed on my doing it, I went home and I threw everything I created for 7 years, developing training programs, marketing materials, and documentation for high-tech companies. I threw them in the garbage can. I'm burning my bridges.
ooh.
I never want to go back to that because it was really actually ruining my life. Every day I'm going, why am I doing this? I should be out helping the other people. I don't know. And so, I mean, what a pleasure. I mean, I got to burn my bridges. So we got a call next day.
Cool.
We have $100,000 project for you. Can we see some of you work? I have nothing to show them. So I had to be successful at the magazine, even though with no experience, no knowledge. I mean, I just had to make it go right.
Mm,
So then I went and I started throwing out my papers and my files. And this is one of the greatest moments of my life. And in the files, I came across a letter that was written to me in 1980. In 1980, I had a book published on education. And I sent a copy of the book to actually Mr. Hubbard, because part of my book, I really talked about Mr. Hubbard and his viewpoints on education.
mm,
And I was very proud of the fact that I was able to let the world know about his contributions and his knowledge of this area. So I sent them a copy of the book when it was published by one of the major publishers in America, Prentice Hall at the time.
yep.
And I sent him a cover letter explaining my purpose for writing the book. And then Mr. Hubbard responded to me with a letter in 1980. And I took the letter and I put it in my files and completely forgot about it.
Mm,
And here it is now in 1998, Mike, when I'm trying to figure out what do I really want to do with my life? Should I really do this with the magazine? I don't know. I kind of think it's okay, but it wasn't like, yeah. And then it was, okay, I'm going to do it. A
yeah.
lot of people have a job. They go, okay, I'm doing it. It's okay. Could be better. It could be, but that's all right. I'm getting money. I'm like, what I'm doing. It's okay. It's not, yes, I want to be, yes, right. And so I'm throwing out papers in my files, right? Then I came across a letter that Mr. Hubbard wrote me in 1980, and all he did was acknowledge what I told him
Mm,
when I told him what my purpose was for writing the book. And all of a sudden, I had this huge realization. I mean, it's one of these true life-changing moments.
mm,
And I realized something about myself I never really understood. And what he said was, you summed it up when you said your purpose was to be on the communication lines of the world with truth. And I went, that's me. That's what I love to do. And why do I want to do that? What's the reason? Because I want to help make people feel happier about themselves and get them inspired to action to do things.
mm.
Yeah. And so I looked over my life and I had that realization. See, that purpose helped direct my future actions and activities. Now that I knew what that was, now I knew how to create my life around things that are going to align to that purpose with my talent, my personality.
Mm,
But I also had some realizations. I understood how during my life, when I've been following that, wow, what a joy. For example, the first job I ever applied for was, I was so excited. It's a summer job in New York City. Oh, if I could work at this job, I'd love it. Now, the job was being a janitor cleaning toilets, which is not my dream job, okay, Mike? It's not my dream job, okay?
yeah.
But it's where the job was
Yeah.
at the airport in New York City. I could work at the airport. Oh, I
Oh
would love to.
man. Yeah.
And what are they doing? Communication lines of the world. I look at
Yeah.
planes and go, oh, my
Watching
favorite building to
flying
go to, and my favorite building to go to in New York City, I would sit there
Yeah.
in the General Assembly Hall of the United Nations, looking at all the flags from countries around the world. And I was going, here's where I want to work. I want to be a part of this.
Yeah.
I've now traveled to over 43 countries and more when you talk about the internet and so on.
Yes. Yeah.
But when I had that realization, and I knew I had the talent and personality, I didn't have the knowledge, but I had to get that.
Mm.
It changed my life. And boy, so when I knew that, and then years later, I found this reference or this quote from Mr. Hubbard. We talked about talent and personality and purpose go together. I said, that's what happened. And that's what really inspired me. And thousands and thousands of people later, you know, a lot of people have been introduced to the program, have received the program, and it's brought a great joy. And I think I'm fairly brilliant in that area. Not other areas, but in that area, helping people really understand themselves and, you know, and make the right choice for their career.
Gorgeous, Faith. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Boy, I love Mike. You're a great interview. I mean, we're going to talk for another 2 hours. I hope. I love
it. Just roll on, mate. It's fine. I got it. Saturday night. I can sleep. I've done everything. I can sleep all day tomorrow. It's all good, mate.
Good.
Yeah. No, that's because it really is those moments when you actually, you know, for me, I remember before I came to Sydney from Newcastle, and I was at that moment, and I was backed up on the ropes, and I just thought, wow, this is like it's time. It's time. And I had no idea what it was time for, but it was time to stop doing what I was doing and just having the belief in yourself that it's going to work out and you're going to find the right track, you know. And sometimes it doesn't happen so fast, but if you stay true to your own goals and you just will find the right people and the right connections and things will go right, and just never let that belief waver, you know. And
don't go into the yeah buts of life. The excuses are the reason. Okay, look, I'm not perfect. There, you know, I know where I can be better, but I think I've done pretty damn good in my life, and more to come yet. Okay, but it's really not making less of yourself. What did Muhammad said? You should not reduce yourself just to. I forget the exact quote from Nelson Mandela. It's a beautiful quote.
Yes,
I'll paraphrase it, but you got to hear the actual quote. But you shouldn't shrink yourself in order to get along with the world. It's a quote like that. Don't shrink yourself.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I don't want people to do. I want them to really understand what their true potentials are and how they can go about making those potentials a reality. I just did a consultation with a guy who came up with a great quote. I love this quote. And what he said was, be willing to let your dreams of your reality become the reality of your dreams.
Ooh.
Isn't that a beauty? Yeah. Let the dreams of your reality, be willing to let the dreams of your reality become the reality of your dreams. That's a thing you put on the wall and hold on to. Yes. And I know my king has done that and is doing that. And this is definitely...
We just begun. This is really cool.
As those of you who are watching this, you can tell we have a mutual admiration in society.
That's for sure. And I think there's, you know, when you meet an individual who's got their belief in their own personal dreams, and they really do stick to that, they've got a magnetism about them which is just irresistible, you know. And you can go, I think it's something you recognize. You recognize some people that they're actually, wow, this person is completely comfortable within himself. You know, what is it? Why is this guy just so comfortable? And why do things go so easy around him? And I think that's definitely the point with individuals like that they are true to their own goals, and they follow their dreams and ambitions, and they never let go of it. And if they're heading off in a different direction, they'll check themselves and bring them back to where they're heading in their life. And it's like, otherwise, you know, it really is not life if you're not following your dreams. It actually is somebody else's life, and we're not here for that, you know.
And how do you know what your dreams are? You see, that's part of it too.
Yeah, that's right.
And is it the right dream?
Yes.
You see, and when you understand your talent, personality, and purpose, now you know it's the right dream, because it's going to be the right challenge for you that aligns to those three things.
And you can have some fun with it too, you know.
You better, Kyle, darn, have fun with it. You can't be. As you can tell, Mike and I are not very serious people. Okay, And we
Very
definitely have
non-serious.
a lot of fun.
That's right.
I'm
Just
really,
ask, you can ask Maureen. I'm annoyingly non-serious. Like, can you please get serious about that? I'm like, I would, darling, but things just don't go when I'm serious. So I've just got to stay like this.
I love it, Mike. I really do.
All
This
right.
is super.
Thank you. From Bernard Percy, what is your message to the world?
Two,
To the world.
there are a couple of ways of saying it, but I'll say it this way. I once had a quote at a wedding. I was the best man at a wedding, and I had to make a toast. So this was like in 1971 or something like that, or actually earlier than that, 1970 or something like that. And I made a toast, and I used that as a foundation for how to think about things. And are you ready for this?
Yes.
May the very best be the very worst you know. And people look, the best, the worst. When I do that in different countries, the translator goes, but not, they cannot translate. What does that mean? May the best be the worst. Come on. Well, obviously, if all you know is the best, then the worst thing you're going to know is the very best. And that's what I wish for everybody in all their areas of life. May the very best be the very worst you know. And when you understand things about yourself, as you had mentioned, and you look at your dreams and so on, then you really can achieve a quality of life we all desire. Where people look at you and envy, and you mentioned this in a different way, but I used to envy people who are leading the quality of life that's the right one for them. They're doing the right thing for them, and they know it, and they're happy in what they're doing. So I used to look at them with envy for many years. And now I look at myself in the mirror and I go, I'm envying myself. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I have challenges, and they're, it isn't all like 100% cozy and easy. It's not easy.
Yeah.
Somebody once did the program, said, thank you for helping to change my life.
Yes.
You didn't make it easier. In fact, it became more difficult, but much more interesting. See? And that's what we all want. And you're doing that with your life. I mean, I know I've been validating you and telling people how great you are because I totally mean it. You are really an inspiration, Mike. You are a great leader of your company, and people who know you are really inspired by who you are, your dedication, and your desire to help create a better world. It's just so written all over you. It's beautiful.
It's a tough job, but I don't think that I wouldn't have it any other way. I don't think I could. I couldn't have any other job. Yeah. So thanks, Bernie.
So may the very best be the very worst you know. And one other thing.
Yeah.
Everything turns out right in the end. If it isn't right, it isn't the end.
All right. I think we'll wrap with that, mate. Thank you. All right. Thank you so much for giving me your time today. This has been amazing.
Thank you, my friend. And you too. You're a great interviewer, and obviously, anytime you'd like me to come back, it's not going to be a no. Okay.
I think we've just opened the door for many more interviews to come. Definitely.
And I look forward to hearing the rest of your interviews because I know you're going to bring out the best in people.
Yes.
And with the good questions and listen with real interest. And so I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of the interviews. When will they be appearing? Where will they be appearing?
We'll be having one a month to start with because I'm just grooming it in. I've got some real champions lined up, and they've been backed up on the ropes literally and had to fight their way out. So they're going to be some very exciting interviews, and and I'm glad I'll be on a screen, maybe on the other side of the screen, because they won't be able to jump across the table and and knock me out if I ask the wrong question. Yeah, no, it's good. So I've got some international footballer and an ex-heavyweight champion and some really cool business guys and some guys who have influenced me in other areas as well in my industry here in Sydney. Some guys have done extremely well, and I think that's exactly right. They've just done well because they're doing what they love. They say do what you love. Well, why do you love it? Because your talents, and your personality and your purposes align with it. How else would it be that way? And they're the type of people I do want to interview, because when we hear them, you always pick up something new, you know. Doesn't when you do someone that's doing well, they're always just some little angle and you go, God, I never thought of that, you know. What a good way to look at things.
You know, attitudes are contagious.
They are.
That's worth catching.
Yeah.
And that's really true. Really true.
Yes. All right, Bernard Percy. Say a big hello to Caroline for me.
And right back to Maureen. Okay,
Yes.
my friend.
And thank you so much. And I'll see you next time on the ropes.
Okay.
Thanks, Bernie.
Bye-bye.
Bye, mate.
The program gave me a strong foundation from which I have built my professional career.
The foundation of brilliance gave me like the confidence that this is what I'm good at, so I'm just going to focus on what I'm good at and what is fun.
I'm right on point. I'm right on point with what we worked out.
It enhanced my personality, my perception as myself, as an artist, and what I can do with that, and how I can make money. It gave me that foundation I truly needed. And I realized I can do this.
Like 5 years ago or 5 years after I did it, I looked at the papers, I found them somewhere in, a pile. I'm like, wow, that's what I'm doing.
Over the last 10 to 15 years, I've delivered over 1,000 personal consultations. I've dealt with more adults than students. I've traveled around the world, been to over 43 countries, over 2 million miles traveling. And every place I go, one of the biggest ruins that people have, the thing that destroys the true quality of their life, is not really feeling they're functioning in an area of work or education that's the right one for them.
Too many people have the core elements that this program addresses, they have them out of alignment, and many don't even know it. So they're reduced to, instead of having a career and something that's very, very purposeful to them, they have a job, or they have a loss in a job, or in life in general. And if they get through this program, they will find at the other end that everything is aligned.
This program is absolutely vital for anyone who wants to move forward in their career, in their relationships, in their life, because it helps the person discover truly who they are, what they want, and how they can go about getting what they want, and how they can inspire thousands, if not millions of people. Because after all, what good is knowledge if you can't share it? And in this program, I learned how I can be the best me, and I can share that to help others be the best them.
Everything turns out right in the end. If it isn't right, it isn't the end. And until we get you to the point where you know this is the right path for me to take, it isn't the end. And you will have that sense of satisfaction that you want.
Foundation to Brilliance, do it.
Please subscribe to this channel. We have so much more to come. I'm Mike King, and I'll see you real soon on the ropes.